Today we're talking all about posture. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Jessica Valant, a physical therapist and Pilates teacher, and I want to bring science-based knowledge, empathy, courage, support, love, and hopefully some fun to the journeys we have with our bodies. There is hope and strength in your body, and my goal is to help you find it. Hi, thanks so much for coming back to Meet Your Body today. We're going to be talking about posture, and I'm kind of laughing because if you could see how I'm sitting in my office chair right now, you would think maybe I have no business talking about posture. I have one knee up with my foot on my chair. The other one is tucked underneath me. I have one elbow resting on my desk, and I'm actually fairly comfortable right now. And this is common. I bet a lot of you are nodding along. If you're sitting, you might be like me, like always moving around in different positions in your chairs. I am always more comfortable with my feet tucked up underneath me. Like I even sit that way at the dining room table. I try not to sit that way out in public. Like if we're, actually out to dinner or something, I will try to sit normal, but I'm that person even in bleachers or anything. I want my feet up resting. I want to be in different positions. I will stand up. I will stand actually through soccer games and volleyball games more than sitting. And I have come to discover that that's a common trait with hypermobility, which I think is really interesting because it gives me an excuse and a reason why I do that all the time. But I do. So if you find yourself that way also, constantly needing to kind of move and change positions and shift around, then you're not alone because I'm right there with you. But we're still talking about posture. And this is a good segue because I think we're going to throw out a lot of things today that are going to kind of be little aha moments and probably kind of burst the idea that you've had your whole life about perfect posture. Because me slumping in my chair right now, this is not a problem for my posture. If I sit like this, I have no worries about my posture itself. And I'm going to get into why. So today we're going to talk about what posture is, what it actually is, the myths that we probably believe about what good posture is and isn't, and then also the things that we need to work on in order to achieve the right posture for ourselves, in order to be able to stand without getting tired, to sit without getting tired, and to have good alignment. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And before we get into all that, I do want to let you know that if you're listening to this live on November 1st, 2024, we are starting Posture Month in my Unlimited community. So Unlimited is my signature community where we have a membership. We have hundreds and hundreds of workouts. We do monthly workout plans, all home workouts. We have weightlifting and Pilates and mobility and all the things. And we talk about injuries. And we have recipes and podcasts. And it really is a place for you to feel empowered in your body throughout various seasons of life. And we have a monthly theme each month, and November is going to be Posture Month. So we're going to have live workshops and workouts and a monthly workout calendar around posture. So if posture is something that you've wanted to work on, this might be a great chance to check out Unlimited, and I will have that link below. So I think it's really important that we actually start with what posture is. Because I am sure when you think of posture, you think of phrases like stand up straight, don't slouch, shoulders back, right? Long neck, all those things that we have all heard our whole life. I even think of someone with a little swatch, just tapping it on my shoulder, stand up straight. And, oh gosh, okay, sorry, I'm going to stand up straight now. And so I've been a physical therapist for, going on 25 years. And I can tell you, even from the beginning of my career, this was something that we have addressed. I mean, always people have come in with this idea of wanting better posture, always. And back then, it was more common for people to think, oh, I need to have this perfect posture. And I would hear cues. I mean, even from other PTs and from continuing education classes I went to, I would hear cues such as just stand up straight, or shoulders down. I mean, that was a big one. And in the Pilates world, that was a big one too. Just shoulders down, shoulders down. And I even back then noticed that even if I said or anyone else said shoulders down, like it didn't help their posture, right? It maybe got the shoulders down temporarily, but like anything else, like if I tell you, don't think of the color blue, what are you going to do? You're going to only think of the color blue. If I tell you shoulders down, it tenses your shoulders. It makes you use your muscles in a way that they weren't necessarily expecting or don't want to be used. And it can actually tighten up your shoulders and cause them to go up. And I would see this, like I would observe it and think, this cue just isn't working. Like this just isn't right. And I started over time to come up with different ways to talk to my clients about posture. And luckily now, just over the past few years, the research has really caught up to what I had already observed with my eyeballs. The research has caught up so that we now understand that this idea that so many people have had, like just society, and it's an idea that's been pervasive in healthcare as well, about this perfect posture, that is not the right way to be thinking about it. So this, at least for us in PT, it really came from what we call Kendall's posture types. And I bet if you're a physical therapist or in healthcare whatsoever, you immediately know the image that I'm talking about. There's this image, and I have Kendall's book. So Kendall is great. And so nothing bad around Kendall. As a person, as a teacher, as a researcher, I have the book right here on my bookcase, actually, from 25 years ago. So there's an image on there about the 4 different posture types. Okay, kyphotic, lordotic, there's a military posture, and then there was what we called, what Kendall called ideal posture. And this is what we were taught as healthcare providers. And so every person who came in as a new PT and every client, every patient who came in, we did a postural analysis, and they would fall into one of those 4 categories. And so I absolutely understand why we think there's an ideal posture, because we were told as healthcare providers that there is, as well as many of us growing up, right, with parents or people or even teachers around us probably trying to do right by us by just say, stand up straight, don't slouch. And I know we even try to help our daughter with that. Our daughter is a beautiful, very tall girl. She's very tall for her age, and it is common. I see this across the board as well. With tall girls, they tend to slouch a little bit. They get self-conscious, they slouch. So we work with her a lot about that idea of having confidence, stand up taller, stand up straight. But all of that to say that there isn't anything wrong with wanting that idea of standing up straight. The problem comes in the past as we have categorized something, this one image, as perfect posture. And I'm saying that in air quotes, okay? This is where the problem arises. Because what I want you to hear right now is there isn't a perfect posture that you are trying to achieve. There is not this one image, like that image from Kendall, this ideal posture that all of us always thought, oh, that's what we're trying to get someone to. Like we would have people come in with a different posture. They didn't fall in that ideal alignment of this one picture. And we worked so hard to get people into this one picture alignment. I mean, we use sticks like on their back and, to try to say, okay, I want your head to touch and your tailbone to touch. I mean, I've done that so many times and I still do it to a point. But we really were going off this one picture. Okay, everyone needs to follow the plumb line, right? This is how you need to stand. That idea is a myth. It's inaccurate. What is accurate is to think that there is a perfect posture for you. It's yours and yours alone, because we are all different. We have, believe it or not, anatomy that sits in a different place. We're even born sometimes with hips that sit in a different place, right? Our bodies change over time. Things adapt, so that me trying to get you and your posture to look exactly like this person and this person and this person and this person, that is doing no one a service. It's actually doing a disservice. So that's what I want you to come into this podcast understanding, with that kind of open mind of knowing that there are a lot of things we can do to help you find your perfect posture. But I don't want you to think of an image in your brain or think, I need to look like that, because you might be trying to force yourself to look like that image in a posture that your body actually doesn't want to do. which makes it a lot harder. So let's talk about what posture is. We've kind of talked about maybe what it isn't, but let's talk about what it is. It is the way you hold your body. Okay? It's the result of your muscles and your bones, your ligaments, your tendons, your joints, everything working together to hold you in a certain position. I also say that it's your alignment. And I'm not saying, again, right or wrong, like your right shoulder has to be even with your left. It does not, by the way. It does not. Your dominant shoulder, your dominant arm tends to be lower than your other one. That is normal. We would expect that, okay? I mean your alignment, like where your head sits over your shoulders, how your thoracic spine maybe sits on top of your lumbar spine, then how your lumbar spine sits on top of your hips and your pelvis. Like this, your body works to find an alignment that will keep you balanced in the position that you are in. Standing, sitting, even laying down, which we don't talk about as much. Like posture typically is something we discuss in relation to gravity. So it would be standing or sitting. Okay, for the most part. So it is how your body holds itself. And when you think of it that way, you kind of start to understand and you can start to visualize how it isn't just a matter of, oh, I need to stand taller and look like that. Nope. You need to find the alignment or the position or the place in space that your body can sustain in standing and in sitting. That is the most efficient, meaning the muscles are doing their job, no more or no less. There's not one muscle that's getting super tight and fatigued because it's doing too much, and there's no muscle that's doing not enough. The bones are in the most comfortable place. The muscles are helping to support them there, and then you can maintain that position. And that is what we mean when we talk about posture. Now, there are some universal things that would apply to everyone. Okay, so when I say there's no ideal position, that is true, or no ideal picture that you want to necessarily go off of, that's true. But also, yes, there are some universal things we tell just about everyone. If you're standing, you don't want to lock your knees. Typically, locked knees are going to lead to a poor balance in the entire system, right? Something's not going to work quite the way it should if you're standing with locked knees. That's just one example. So there are things like that that would apply to everyone. And so we're going to go over I'm not going to talk you through exercises right here, but I do have workouts. So I have a 10-minute YouTube workout for posture, and I'm going to link that below. And then again, in Unlimited, this month, especially November, we have a 30-minute posture workout. We're going to have a live workshop about it. We're going to have a live workout. And then we have a back strength workout using dumbbells. So all things that we need to help with our posture. So you can get those workouts. I want to talk to you a little bit about like what we do in general to help posture, because going back to probably what you've heard before, right? Just stand up straight, shoulders down, just do better. That's really hard when your muscles haven't been trained how to actually hold you upright. And maybe that sounds silly when you think about it. Like, of course I should be able to stand. But you know what? Standing is exhausting sometimes. And even sitting upright can be exhausting sometimes. Like slumping can happen because our upper back muscles get really weak, and or our chest and our pecs get really tight, which end up pulling our shoulders forward. Okay, so let's just think of this in theory with me. Let's say something happens and you even get a little bit of an injury. So for whatever reason, you get an injury, or this for a lot of you will be very relatable. You have a baby and you are nursing. Okay, you nurse for a year. Think of the position that you hold that baby in. Or again, if it's an injury that helps you, whatever helps you think about that little hunching, like you're rounded forward. Or let's just say you drive all day for work, so you're rounded forward. So when that happens, your body's going to start to accommodate. Your body is very nice, actually, and will be like, you know what, you need to be in that position. Okay, I can help you get there. So over time, you start to become more flexed in your thoracic spine. You start to get really tight across your pecs and your chest. You start to get long muscles across your upper back, which ends up helping to weaken those muscles across your upper back. All of that perpetuates itself and leads to more weakness in your upper back. It then leads to tightness in your neck, which leads to headaches, which leads to you having to lift your head up. Do you see how this kind of cascades? And your body will start again to accommodate that, because your body says, well, you know what? You're in that position, but I need to help you be upright. So now you need to do that to kind of balance and counteract that. And over time, you suddenly have this posture, if you will, that isn't efficient, but it's the only thing your body knows with the accommodations that your muscles have made. So if you just tell yourself, stand up straight, just sit up straighter. What are you doing? Why are you hunching? Sit up straighter. You can do it for maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but then your body is exhausted and goes right back to where it is. It's not because of a bad habit. I mean, sure, that's a little bit, but I don't call it a bad habit. I call it a poor motor pattern. Your body has learned a new motor pattern that is not efficient. So it's going to fall back into that motor pattern. In addition to that, those muscles are weak, like I told you. And so they get really tired trying to hold you upright. So you're going to hunch forward. So just telling yourself over and over again to stand up straight when you do nothing to help the motor pattern or the muscle weakness is just going to lead to you feeling bad about not having good posture. So what we need to do is strengthen the muscles. That is how we work on posture, is we address why you might not be able to stand up in that alignment that works for you, why you might not be able to sit in the alignment that's best for you. Let's address it. And typically, because I'm not necessarily seeing you one-on-one, we are all a little bit different in the motor patterns that we have developed. But again, a lot of us fall into similar categories. So for most of us, what we're going to need is strength in our posterior shoulders and our upper back. That's rotator cuffs. That's your rhomboids. That's your middle traps. So a lot of strength up there to help get your shoulders back. Then we need to stretch out your pecs and your chest and find some shoulder mobility. Then we need to find some hip mobility as well, because we're going to work on that pelvic tilt, right? We want to unlock your pelvis. I want to make sure your hip flexors aren't too tight. I want to find some hip mobility. And then we want to find some core strength to help hold it all together. And by doing that, that can help your posture long term. So that is really the way I want you to think about posture. And posture then will also change according to your season of life. But by doing these regular exercises, you can ensure that your body can adapt. Your body can adapt if you get pregnant and your posture suddenly changes, which it will and it should, because your center of gravity changes. Okay, so it'll change with that. Your posture suddenly adapts if you have to lift something heavy. I mean, my posture does a sudden adaptation when I lift my 7-year-old son who's 50 pounds, and I still like to lift him sometimes, yes. And I will keep doing it as long as I can. So my posture has to do a sudden adaptation, right? Same if you're lifting mulch, if you're lifting that suitcase overhead. Anytime you actually lift something overhead, that's a big postural adaptation. Okay, so you want your body to be able to adapt. Sitting, standing. Posture and walking is going to be different than your posture in running. Posture in riding a bike, right, is different than your posture during a bar workout. But as long as you are working the muscles and the mobility and the balance and all of that, your posture will be able to adapt for those activities. And when you have good posture, like the way you'll kind of know is, I tell people, like one cue I like to use, and maybe because it helps me a lot, is I tell people, I want you to find space. And you can even try this right now. Like if you're on a walk right now listening to me, or if you just happen to be sitting or cooking, maybe take a moment. And I want you to just stand, like just stand however you want, whatever's natural and normal for you, just stand, okay? Now, I want you to think about creating space. Create space between your hips and your pelvis. Create space with your pelvic floor. Create space in all your vertebrae, all the way up your spine. Create space in your neck. Create space in your brain. Create space in your heart and in your torso, even in your ankles. And now just notice how you feel different. Like, does anything feel different? And many times, just that little cue alone can actually help your alignment. A lot of times we just really kind of get weighed down. And if we think of that idea of creating space, our body will naturally get our weight over both feet, which is what we want. We want our weight distributed over both feet, distributed into both hips, and aligned all the way up to our head. So use tips like that to keep yourself in that good posture as well. And then long term, having good posture can help you reduce the stress on your muscles and your joints and your ligaments. It helps your body work efficiently, like I mentioned. It can help your balance. It can help prevent injuries. So it does make a difference, but I just want you to change your thought process around it. And I want you to focus on those movements. So again, I'll have the link below. If you're on YouTube, my 10-minute posture exercise, do it every day for a couple weeks and see how it feels. And just start to use those tips too, whether you're standing or sitting or wherever you are. And I also recommend come join us in Unlimited if you want a little more focus on that posture. But either way, just know that there are things that you can do to help without beating yourself up, without forcing yourself to just stand up taller. Instead, create some space, take a deep breath, do your daily workouts and movement, and just keep moving forward one step at a time. All right. Thanks for being here, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on Meet Your Body. If you have a moment, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast as it helps us tremendously. For more resources and workouts, you can visit my website, jessicavalantpilates.com, or find me on YouTube or Instagram at Jessica Valant Pilates.